is after him. That could be picked off by Colt Cruz at the 28. He's loose. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown, Tigers.
Get it on the jet sweep to the short side. Up the sideline. Sam McCaffrey. He is gone. Touchdown, Ottawa.
Wilder's going to catch it right at the 50. Looking for some room coming down here to the bottom to the left. He's got a lot of room. Watch out. He's gone. He's gone, Coach. Wilder's going to take that 50 yards for a score. Bulldogs on the board.
Welcome back to the Black Swamp Football Podcast presented by the Gerken Companies. Again, joined by Tory, Strock. We will have Neil Schuller here in just a minute. I am Lynn Groll. Glad to have you back, Coach. We'll get Neil rolling in here hot from Dayton.
Feels like we never left, Lynn.
I know.
You know, we had our podcast and coaches show last week, and then Rise and Rewind Saturday morning here. And here we are again, another week. It goes fast and furious from here. Before you know it, we'll be sitting here at the midway point.
You are right. Already week 2. Next week's week 3. 2 weeks, it's week 4. It's almost half over.
And you know what? We're not supposed to wish the days away, but I already hear rumblings about some matchups down the road. Wait until, Liberty PH week, whatever that is, and, wait until certain matchups. Tap the brakes here. Let's live in the moment, right?
Let's enjoy week 2 because we got some dandies this week, Coach.
Yes, we do.
Strock. And before we go any further, I just want to pass on our condolences, prayers, sympathies to the family of Levi Hess, an Edgerton player who passed away tragically over the weekend. Just want to pass along our condolences, and it's not easy. There's nothing we can say that is really going to matter, but we're thinking about the Edgerton community, the football program, and hopefully can get along here as time goes on.
Yeah, get along, and time is really the only thing that can help begin the healing process. And you said it very well, Lynn. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Edgerton community, and as is this entire area. It's quite a team here in Northwest Ohio when it's all said and done.
It's been a couple tough weeks for football in this area with what happened down in Coldwater as well, and it's just tough. Just can pray and pass on our well wishes.
Kind of gives you some perspective.
Yeah, football is minute compared to what goes on in our everyday lives. We sometimes take it, I think, a little bit too seriously, especially as fans.
Yep, I know I do sometimes.
Yeah, I do too. We're all guilty of it, but it puts it in perspective about what is important in our lives. Also want to thank our other sponsors besides the Gerken Companies, American Freedom Energy, Grandma's General Store here where our studio is, and Gerken Companies have a nice little banner that they put up back there this week.
Pretty sharp, isn't it?
Rock solid performance. We're going to be handing that out here in a few minutes.
Saw some folks on our social media lobbying for their football teams.
They were lobbying, huh?
They were lobbying, and someone's probably going to be disappointed because here's the reality: there are several football programs that turned in rock solid performances.
Yes, they did.
And so our job is going to be difficult, but there can only be one.
There can only be one. That is correct. American Freedom Energy, Grandma's General Store, where we're at right now on 109, just north of State Route 24, and it's just south of Liberty Center in the town. Thursday morning, Special Grounds Coffee will have their truck set up here, 7 a.m. to noon. I may run over here and get a cup of Joe. I think they have some breakfast sandwiches. May fill up with some of that 88 for our trip down to Liberty Benton on Friday night. I mean, we'll just fly.
Oh, Yeah, and it doesn't matter if there's officers staked out. They won't
even
see
see us. No.
So Thursday morning.
Special
grounds out here.
Yes.
Now, will the coffee club, will they stray from their normal routine? I mean, they have their own coffee pot out here, for crying out loud.
Do they have to pay for special grounds?
And it's going to cost them a little bit more. Some of, that group.
You get what you pay for.
Well, you get what you pay for, but I don't think their standards are real high, Lynn. And with that crew and that age demographic, there's a lot of fixed incomes sitting there.
That is true.
So I think their best bet is somebody like my dad saying, hey, it's on me. Because some of them, I don't think otherwise will do it.
I agree, yeah. Mr. Strock will have to pick up the check there.
He probably will.
Yeah. Swanton Welding, also one of our sponsors for our podcast. K. Kern Painting, Kinsey Kern, up in the Toledo area, and really all around anymore. Kinsey's all over the place with his painting crew. And also White Pines Golf Course. I want to thank all of our sponsors enough for their support this season. Let's get right into it. The rock solid performance. And let's first hear from the Gerken Companies.
Who says a college degree is the only path to a fulfilling career? At the Gerken Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods with or without a degree. Gerken provides a generous benefits package, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. We're looking for rock-solid performers to help build and reinforce the region's infrastructure. Whether you have construction experience or are just starting your career, apply now at gerkencompanies.com/careers.
Thank you to Mandy Gerken and the crew at the Gerken Companies for their support and doing the Rock Solid Performance Award of the Week. It's one team per week. Every kid is going to get a bracelet. Mandy just sent me an email to remind me of what they're doing. It's all set up. We're going to need to get a team photo of that team, and they're going to put it on their social media page as well as ours.
Ooh.
Give me some candidates, Coach. I have a leader in the clubhouse,
okay.
And I'm not going to stray from it, but give me some others that possibly could take home the Gerken Company's rock-solid performance.
Okay, I like that. I would ask... I always feel pressure post-game in that, giving out some of our awards. Will you I'll give you some suggestions, and you...
Yeah, I'm making the decision, executive decision. You can give me all the suggestions you want, but it's not going to matter.
Thank you. Okay. I did jot down a list this afternoon, one that we called Thursday night, and it's always extra impressive when you drop the hammer on someone in a rivalry game. And Columbus Grove, they weren't perfect, but they were close to it in a nearly flawless effort in their big win over Pandora Gilboa Thursday night. Anthony Wayne, after losing on the road at Hilliard Derby a year ago, I think there's some questions about Anthony Wayne with some of the talent and experience they graduated. They were convincing in a rock-solid effort on Friday night in their win. Maumee under Evan Karchner put an exclamation point on that victory over Springfield. Again, talking about rivalries, what Southview did to Northview is rock solid. And again, in Wood County, Otsego absolutely put it on Bowling Green in Craig Rutherford's first game. That was rock solid. Antwerp, a team that a lot of folks doubted and had questions about after graduating a historic senior class last year, had a chip on their shoulder and rolled against the Montpelier Locomotives, who a lot of folks picked in that game. The Napoleon Wildcats stopped a 3-year skid at home to Defiance. They showed some super grit and tenacity to fight their way back and overcome some obstacles in that game. Napoleon turned in an impressive performance, and then sometimes we overlook teams like Liberty Center and Central Catholic because they're always good and they make it look easy. Central Catholic, very impressive Friday night, and then Liberty Center in another rivalry game basically could have named their score on the Tenora Rams. So, and there were other ones I left out there, but those are the ones that jumped out to me as I looked at our list of games last week.
Okay, all good information there, good insight, well prepared.
Thank you.
All I have to say is, who won the Rock if this is the rock solid performance and you win the Rock in week 1, case closed. The Napoleon Wildcats, week 1, rock solid performance. They get it done. Make it easy on the Gerken Companies to run those bracelets over Napoleon. Take them about 5 minutes.
We concur. I didn't want to lobby too much, but I think if you saw the ebbs and flows of that game, the essence of a rock solid performance is grit and tenacity and all that, and Napoleon showed it and then some.
Man, did they? Yeah, that was a different Napoleon team.
It was.
Than we've seen in the Defiance game maybe the last couple of years.
It was. I mean,
and they got down early, and they could have certainly kind of threw in the towel. I don't like to say that because I don't think teams do that, but
right.
I think they still keep fighting. But boy, it wasn't looking good for them. But they got that touchdown right before the half when George Eggers plunged into the end zone with a great second effort, just barely got in. That really changed the kind of the tenor of that game. Who knows what would have happened without that? Hayden Gerken's the big hit on the 2-point try in overtime
because the ball was right there.
Yeah, he just made a big hit.
The ball was right there, and he dislodged it. And
you can name, you can go through the whole roster. Everybody contributed for Napoleon in that game on Friday night. But in our rivalry game, that was as big of a game that we had of our 33 games a week ago in our area as far as rivalry and everything that goes into that game. That means the world to the communities of Defiance and Napoleon. And Napoleon got it done in thrilling fashion, 35-34 in overtime. They're my rock solid performer of the week.
I don't know how anyone could argue with that. I agree, Lynn. Congratulations to the Napoleon Wildcats. They're going to get some cool and you know what's funny about that? As I was jotting down my list today, Owen Espinoza, the record-setting quarterback for Napoleon, was in my classroom, and I said, we've got to choose a rock-solid performance of the week. And you're one of my nominees, Owen. And he just smiled because if you know him, he's the most humble kid in the world. And they'll be excited, I can tell you that.
Yes, they will. They got a big one here at Liberty Center on Friday night. Don't forget to stop out here at the tailgate. Tell you more about it as we break down the Napoleon Liberty Center game here as we go on. But the Baden Hops will have the tailgate rolling again, and it should be a pretty festive atmosphere with the Wildcats rolling in here.
And I know they know this. Right, only a few miles separate those two Henry County communities, but the Napoleon faithful are going to be welcomed with open arms here. And a
lot of them work together during the day.
Sure, they do. A lot of banter and things like that. And I saw after Napoleon was celebrating the river rivalry Friday night, there were some Liberty folks already saying, next Friday night.
Yeah.
Let the dust settle, man.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. We'll get into our week 2 picks here, Coach. But first, I want to talk about a situation in Archbold last Friday night. They were going to honor a fallen teammate who took his life in the off season, Antonio Tono Cruz, who played receiver for Archbold from 2017 to 2020. The ceremony was stopped before it even happened. I think it's well publicized if you're on social media or you're a football fan. I think most people probably have heard about this situation, but if not, they were going to honor him before kickoff, quick ceremony. They have a rock out there for him. But it was stopped by the Archbold administration. And David Dominic, the head coach at Archbold, had a statement on Saturday on Facebook. I will read that. And I'm also going to read what was supposed to be read to honor Tono before that game started on Friday night. So here's David Dominic's statement from Saturday. Last evening at the game, we were unfortunately not given time as originally planned to recognize a young man who we hold near to our hearts. Below, I am sharing what was going to be read during the short ceremony written by Antonio's close friends and teammates. A staple of our program is taking care of your teammates, and I hope you all know this extends beyond our football program. If you or anyone else you know are ever in need, do not hesitate to reach out. That was Coach Dominic's statement. This was what was supposed to be read on Friday and was not. This past winter, the Archbold football family mourned the the loss of a cherished member of our community whose presence touched the lives of many. Tonight, we take a moment to honor the late Antonio Tono Cruz. Antonio was an exceptional football player, recording the second most receiving touchdowns in Archbold history during his time on the team from 2017 to 2020. More importantly, he was a remarkable individual who always brought joy and laughter to those around him. As you enter the stadium near the home entrance and concessions, you will now notice a rock dedicated to his memory. We hope this rock serves as a reminder of the wonderful memories many of us were fortunate to share with Antonio, and as a symbol of the importance of reaching out for support whenever you may need it. Then they were supposed to observe a moment of silence for Tono. Did not happen. I know Antonio covered him during his days as an Archbold Blue Streak. A great young man. He always had a smile on his face. Always brought a joy to my face when I saw him. You could not be happy when you saw him, and he would always say hi at games to me. It was special, and I'm going to try not to get choked up because this has bothered me for a few days here, Coach. I don't understand, why are we not supporting our young men, women, whoever needs help? And there was a time when I thought, geez, if I could have just talked to Tono.
And there are young people out there, Lynn, right now that maybe feel isolated, like they have no one to turn to. And the thing that jumps out to me from this statement is this: and as a symbol of the importance of reaching out for support whenever you may need it. That's what this was about. Not this personal view or this personal view, however you want to paint that. This wasn't that deep. This was a tribute to an outstanding young man who maybe didn't know where to turn for help, and just a reminder to all of us the importance of doing that, and that there are people out there who care. No more, no less. And so I share your frustration. I'll leave it at that.
And this was stopped at about 6:30. His family and friends were there to attend this ceremony, and at 6:30 it was stopped. How do you think they felt?
Oh, man.
You can put your judgment or whatever you want in this whole situation aside. We need to take care of people like this and help them when they need it in their time of need. Next month is Suicide Prevention Month. What does this say? If we're not going to help, if our administrators are not going to help our young people in this world.
Yep. It's one of those topics, Lynn. As an educator, we have the SOS program, the Signs of Suicide program come into our schools. Every student takes part in that SOS program. As painful as it is sometimes, we've got to shed light on it, or we're not going to get better at dealing with and addressing these things. So,
yeah, very disappointed in the Archbold administration. This was something that would have brought some joy to his family and friends, and the Archbold coaches and that community. I'll leave it there. I'm trying not to get choked up here. It's a tough situation, and I hope maybe we can do this down the road. His rock is out there, but can we do the ceremony, please?
Yeah, I think it needs to happen, and also, Lynn, I'm proud to stand with you because of Coach Dominic, just his character, the things he does for his Archbold players, aside from football, from his leadership programs to his, community service initiatives and things like this. This is heartfelt stuff that really matters to an outstanding young coach, David Dominic, and I feel compelled to support him as you do.
Damo is a good guy. He's going to do everything for his kids. He's going to do it the right way. That's my rant for the week and maybe for the year. I don't know. I don't know. But.
Yeah, you're allowed to have an opinion, and sometimes,
And you know how many Archbold people have reached out to me in the last couple days who are done supporting Archbold? there are a lot of people in that community who are not happy about this situation and will not vote for any more levies, will not support the school, will not go to sporting events.
Sounds like it opened up some wounds there.
Yes, it did, and I hope it can get corrected. I hope it can get corrected. That's what I pray for here in this situation, and our well wishes to Tono's family and his friends, because I know they've been through a lot here in the last few months.
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
That. We got Mr. Schuller here with us. Back
Give me a fist bump, buddy. There we go. Good.
We turn you on here, Neil.
All right, live. Here we go.
We got
Perfect timing.
Yep. He knew what he was doing.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Neil, we handed out our first ever Gerken Companies Rock Solid Performance of the Week just moments ago.
Fantastic. And who were the lucky winners?
So let me ask you this. We're going to test you. Give us 4 or 5 quick off the top of your head nominees.
And is this individuals or teams?
No,
Remind me.
Teams.
I would put the Napoleon Wildcats in that argument.
That's a good one.
I would probably have to put Columbus Grove in that discussion.
That's another
Did
good
you
one.
collaborate?
I would throw the Whitmer Panthers in there.
Rock solid, wasn't it?
Yeah, fairly convincing win there against Dublin Shamrocks. Man. I'd have to think of it. He caught me off guard there a little bit. But the winner, in my opinion, would be Napoleon.
Oh. He's a smart man.
Good man.
Good pick, Schuller, because that's who we went with.
Excellent.
That was a selection, and Lynn brought up a really good point. If you win the rock, how
isn't that a rock solid? Isn't that the definition of it?
Could we really award it to anybody else?
No.
I mean, the Gerken Companies are headquartered right on the Maumee River, right down the road from here.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that just makes sense and is appropriate in almost every way.
Absolutely.
So, especially after that game. Boy, what a great one you guys got your hands on there. Holy cow.
Yes, it was a dandy for sure. All right, week 2. We're going to start on Thursday night. 8-man action gets underway for us this week, guys. Toledo Christian at Adrian-Lenawee Christian. This is a matchup of state champions. Lenawee Christian won the Michigan state title in Division I. Toledo Christian won the Ohio 8-man state title a year ago. Lenawee Christian's coach, Bill Warham, stepped away in January after the third of 4 state championships. They only have a dozen kids out up there at Lenawee Christian this season.
That's rare for that.
Yes,
it
is.
Program.
Toledo Christian has about that many starters back.
Correct. And I think actually a few more than that.
Probably. I know a lot of them go both ways, so we'd have to do the numbers there. But the Eagles are looking good this season. Do they go up to Adrian on Thursday night and open the season with a W?
I will kick this off. I will say absolutely. Toledo Christian, I see them picking up right where they left off. It's been well documented. No one has embraced the 8-man game more than they have. There's been others like Holgate, Stryker, and them that have been ambassadors, but Toledo Christian leading the charge. I like them.
I, too, am going to go with the Toledo Christian Eagles. Man, what a special season they had last year. Interesting about those numbers, Lynn, with Adrian-Lenawee Christian. Man, it's a good-sized school. Usually their athletics are well supported, so that one is a bit concerning, but I think the Eagles will go on the road here and come home with a victory.
Now, those 12 kids are probably dudes.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about it, but I tell you what,
like TC.
I was going to say, those 8 that you talked about from Toledo Christian are dudes, too.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, and Carter Kester is an X-factor player in any game.
In any level.
At any level.
Yes,
absolutely
agree. So TC all around for us. Let's shift it to Friday action, guys. North Adams Jerome is invading Stryker. Kent Holsopple and his crew start off this season at home. This is a game we attended a couple years ago.
Yeah, when Stryker, who was that big old running back linebacker they
Gonzalez,
had?
right?
No, for Stryker.
Dang it.
Put you on the spot. But yeah, that was my first in-person taste of 8-man football. We were right down there on the sideline. The community came came out in full force for that one.
Need to sneak over there and grab one of our preseason magazines, because it's right over there. The coffee crew in the morning have them stashed. I wonder if they paid for those.
Of course
I
not.
highly doubt it.
I may have to come in here and collect on Saturday morning if those guys are in here when we arrive for Rise and Rewind.
Good luck collecting from Coach Lindgren, I can tell you that.
Rex has probably got 15 of them at his house that he's stolen from the counter.
And resold.
He's at a discount.
Yeah.
That's probably what he's doing with those.
I guarantee you, he's peddling them. And I see these cupcakes sitting over on the table. You know they're shoving those in their pie hole.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's any leftovers with that.
Yeah. God, what was that kid's name? Last name started with a B. Gosh darn it. Anyway, Lynn's right. We did see that one a couple years ago at Stryker. The Panthers haven't been the same since that team. They were loaded that year. Barnum. Levi
Barnum?
Levi Barnum. It just hit me.
That's solid.
Yeah.
Speaking of rock solid.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That was tough. I don't know. I'm gonna hang out here while you guys make your picks. I may.
Because they're at home, I'm going to go with the Stryker Panthers.
Kind of where I was leaning.
I haven't seen enough from either team, obviously, this year. Haven't really dug into what either one has. So the fact that the Panthers are home, give me Stryker.
I'm going to take the Panthers, too. They won this game 42-zip a year ago, rolled 2 years ago. I think they're going to roll again in this matchup. I like the Panthers.
Can't argue it.
No, and I was leaning Stryker, to be honest with you, and I was just looking for a reason, some confirmation. I'm going to make it a sweep. I'll take the Stryker Panthers.
Okay. Holgate is at Camden Frontier. Redskins were 6-4 a year ago. Holgate obviously got to the 8-man state championship before getting shellacked by TC just over here at Rex Lindgren Stadium in that matchup. I think it's going to be an easy one for the Tigers.
You think it'll be easy?
I don't.
Oh, I agree. I'm just looking at some of their...
Holgate lost some dudes from a year ago. I want to see what they have this year before I am all in on the Tigers.
I don't disagree, and I think, Coach Colton Wagner has his work cut out for him, but one of the early adopters and ambassadors of the 8-man game, and I do believe in him, and he's done a nice job over there in getting that, not only the team and the school, but the community around 8-man. So give me Coach Wags, go out and get it done. I got Holgate in this one.
Got to think about it. I'm taking the Tigers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good football game, especially on the road. Looking at Camden Frontier, man, they put up some points in some games last year. I know this is a new year.
They played. I think they put up some points on Lenawee Christian, didn't they?
They did.
A year ago, if I remember. I think Lenawee Christian.
Yeah, they got sanded
Did
that
they get
game,
sanded?
but scored 48, 50, and 56 in consecutive weeks. Scored 66 against North Adams Jerome, 50 against Tecontia, 48. So they put up some points a year ago.
You got to release the pick. You should have analyzed
what
this
are we doing here?
all week. You had
Holgate's on the road. I just, you know what? Coach Wagner has...
You have some doubts. He has some doubts, Coach Wags. just pick the Redskins.
Here we go.
You know what? I don't have the intestinal fortitude to do it because I know the types of tricks Coach Wagner has up his sleeve.
What if he sends Kenny Sonnenberg over here and James Faber and Mark Weisner?
I was talking to Dave Kleck on Friday afternoon. We were up in the press box kind of checking out our spots for the Napoleon Defiance game, and I asked him about Kenny Sonnenberg, and
he would have covered Kenny one of his early years.
He said that pound for pound, one of the best he's ever seen in this area. He said not only was he shifty and lightning quick, but he would lower his shoulders and just run you over.
Like a $135.
Yeah, and that's what Dave said. And I said, he's the most humble. He said, oh yeah, he was never a showboat, but he was a bad bad dude.
Yeah, he
And
was.
so,
Yeah, if you're listening or watching right now, go to our YouTube page. You can see that interview with those guys. He used to climb up in the old tiger cage, up the basketball pole, up into the rafters, and just like monkey bar across. He'd be setting up on the heater they set up in the gym.
yeah, it was a little chilly out late in the season.
Are you kidding me? That's got to be at least 30 feet up in the air, right?
I asked him, I said, weren't you afraid of falling? He goes, probably not, or I wouldn't have done it. In that vein, how can I pick against the Holgate Tigers?
We had to go through all that for you to pick Holgate? Come on.
I needed something to believe in, and that was it.
The Tiger Cage.
Wake up the echoes of the '84 Tigers.
Well, we're going to get to something with that shirt you're wearing here in a little bit, because you always are hedging your bets.
That's true. There's a reason.
There's always a method.
There's a method.
Hey, when you've been doing this as long as I have, boys, you dot your I's and cross your T's. I'll tell you that.
All right. Let's move to Bluffton at Pandora Gilboa. We know what the Pirates are. We saw Pandora last week. Can the Rockets rally from that loss to Grove against a really, really good Bluffton team? 28-21 a year ago, Bluffton won this matchup. Just the fifth time these two teams have met.
And I'll tell you this, you talk about a backyard brawl. I mean, Pandora and Bluffton, you can throw a stone from one town to the other. Boy, tough start for Pandora Gilboa.
We were talking about tough schedules. I think we failed to mention PG.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know it. Bluffton absolutely dominant in their season opener. Pandora Gilboa, I told Lynn, Neal, last Thursday night, they're going to win some football games. I mean, I think they're a team that's going to win 6 or 7, but I don't think Friday night they're going to be improved. They're going to be improved from a week ago, but it's not going to be enough. Bluffton goes on the road and wins a fight. It will be a battle.
I think PG is going to come out of that Grove loss with their hair on fire, out to prove something. I agree with you, Tory. They're going to be improved. Bluffton's going to have their hands full with PG this week. I still think it's maybe a 2-score game in favor of the Pirates at home.
Yeah, I can't pick against
the Pirates on the road.
Yeah, I can't pick against my pick to win the Northwest Conference Championship. I got to ride with them. The Pirates. Let's go, baby. Jeff Richards, get them going. Raise the flag. Come on. Come on.
I'm going to make our sponsor happy, Mandy Gerken. I'm going to go with Bluffton. She's a Bluffton
smart man.
Resident these days.
Smart man.
Pirate sweep, as we call it.
Yeah.
I like it, Neal.
Yeah. Raise the Jolly Roger. All right. How about North Central at Paulding? First time these two teams have met. North Central, not a good start a week ago. Took it on the chin against Woodmore. Paulding off to a nice start against Swanton.
Yeah, I believe that I took the Woodmore Wildcats a week ago, and honestly, I did that in a coin flip. I don't think any of us envisioned it being as lopsided as it was. Woodmore rolled, and as a result, North Central is walking into a hornet's nest Friday night at Paulding. Paulding will be all over them. I like the Panthers.
One of the most surprising scores for me last week was that North Central game. Paulding's rolling, I think, at home opener. Paulding Panthers are going to be ready to roll.
Yep.
You said playing with your hair on fire. Jim Menzies' crew does.
Yes,
they
do.
roll big. They're going to name their score in this matchup.
Yep. This one could get out of hand.
Yep.
Matchup of 0-1 teams. Bellevue is at Wasion. The new look Indians with a ground attack with the wing T. Bellevue rolling in. Bellevue won 23-3 a year ago.
Interesting. Bellevue, something happened to Bellevue last week that doesn't happen too very often to Bellevue in the regular season. They got boat raced by the Clyde Flyers, which is a rivalry in and of itself when you get up in that neck of the woods, you know.
You bet.
But Clyde pounded them pretty good. So
34-0.
Okay, shut them out. Again, you don't just do that to Ed Nassani's football team. So a pair of 0-1 teams here. Wasion needs to get healthy in a hurry. It ain't going to get any easier for them.
How about Bellevue Bellevue's schedule. Sorry to interrupt you here real quick. The only team that lost on their schedule this season in week 1 was Wauseon. Everybody else won. Shelby, Norwalk, Sandusky, Perkins, Edison, Huron, Tiffin, Columbian, Port Clinton, and Vermilion all won. I'd have to look around the state at all the 800 and some teams, but is there another?
Not many, I would imagine.
If there is, it isn't many.
9-1 in week 1.
Yeah, that's a tough road ahead for the Redmen for sure.
Yeah, Wauseon's going to have to show some improvement here going forward. No one will pick up the pieces the way that Ed Nasani will with the tradition they have at Bellevue. Now, these teams have met in the playoffs, in recent history, and Wauseon's fared well, but 2024 is a new season. I am going with the Bellevue Redmen to get it done at Harmon Field.
I also have the Redmen on the road. I think that, agree, Ed Nasani will pick this team up. Oftentimes when you're learning a new scheme, you've practiced it, now you've got game and you've got film, but still getting the sync and the pieces, especially with something like the wing tee where the precision is so much of that. I think Wauseon's still trying to figure it out, and it's a bad week to do that with the Redmen coming to town.
It is, and so I'd ask this question. I talked a little bit about this with Lynn on Saturday morning. A lot of times if you go from a run-based offense to a spread, the kids naturally are excited, right? I don't know that that's the case when you go from a wide-open attack to a wing tee. You got to have some buy-in. Yeah. So, is there a chance some of the Wauseon kids maybe are questioning this? I don't know, maybe not, but that matters too.
I will say this, though, that type of a system at a place like Wauseon, if they get the buy-in from the kids, they could have a lot of success with it.
100% agree.
Yeah. I like Edna Santi, too, and the Redmen to go on the road.
I thought you might lean Wauseon this week, Lynn.
I'm just not sure yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I don't know what to expect from the Indians after they went down to Fairview a week ago.
Well, both of them have their backs against the wall here. Nobody wants to start 0-2.
Yeah. Here's a team with their backs against the wall. Elmwood, 0-1 at Eastwood. Battle of the Woods. Eastwood leads this one 38-15 in the playoff era.
We were talking a moment ago about North Central Paulding, and quite frankly, I think this matchup is equally characteristic of that one. Eastwood picks their number and rolls.
Yeah, based on what I saw last week in terms of scores and things like that, the Elmwood Royals, they're trying to find themselves after having a ton of success a couple years ago. And speaking of walking into a hornet's nest, Elmwood's walking into one. Eastwood will be loaded for bear. I like Eastwood.
Sam Cotterman has them playing well. Went down to Kenton last week and won 38-35. I think Eastwood wins the Battle of the Woods in this matchup. Let's move it to a WBL game, as the WBL is going to get off here in week 2 with 10 teams in the league. You get right into league play after you play week 1. Salina at St. Mary's, both 1-0. The Rough Riders lead this series 39-13 in the playoff era.
For me on this one, and this isn't the last one of the night, by the way, but this is probably one of the first coin toss games that I think that we're going to come to. Both, as you said, Lynn, 1-0. It's tough. I think it's going to come down to the final bell. It could come down to a special teams situation. That said, I don't know why, but I'm taking the Salina Bulldogs on the road.
On the road.
I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the Salina Bulldogs. That's my horse this week.
I like it, Neil. But I'm going to disagree with you. I do agree with your statement about a coin flip. This one's razor thin. Salina coming off a historic season last year. St. Mary's, all the tradition in the world. They're at home. I think it's going to be a heavyweight fight, as you said. I like the St. Mary's Rough Riders in a close one.
I'm taking the Rough Riders too, my friend. Good call.
Smart man, Lynn.
Just picked up a game.
The wing tee. Colton Mabry and Dominic Osborne, both going to run for over 1,000 yards. yards this season. That's my prediction for St. Mary's, and I think they're both going to be right around 100 again this week. Mabry had 115 last week, Osborne 193 in that win over St. Henry. I think they get it done. They only tried 2 passes. The Rough Riders aren't going to throw it much, but they're going to ride that running game, and I think they're going to ride it to another victory on Friday night there in St. Mary's against the defending WBL champion Salina with Walpock from a year ago. Columbus Grove at Liberty Benton on Friday. Tory and I have the call of this one, so we're not picking it. This is your selection here, Mr. Schuller. How do you like that?
Yeah,
thank goodness.
Speaking of the coin toss games, here we come again, right?
Yeah. Series tied 1-1. Andy Schaefer and Scott Yarlock got this series going a couple years ago. 24-14 Grove last year. 2 years ago, LB won 24-13 in 2022. The Elkert brothers, Trenton Barraza, Kylan Mays, Gavin Barraza, who made an appearance a week ago in that win over PG.
Grant Eversole.
Ty Meyer up front. Boy, you could go on and on. Brady Basinger.
Landon Best at quarterback.
Big-time names in this matchup.
Have fun, Neil.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting.
Do you need to give him a little breakdown before he goes?
Well, here's the thing, you know.
I got my pick, but go ahead.
Okay, Liberty Benton rolled at Ottawa Glandorf last week, which is never easy to do. Maybe a little more of an air attack, you know. Columbus Grove was absolutely lights out on both sides of the football against Pandora Gilboa, and I think it's a coin flip, so I don't know that any analysis is going to help you here.
Yeah, well, you know, you hit a lot of points there, and I agree, and I think that this game is another one that's going to come down to the fourth quarter. You know, our listeners, a lot of times I'll get a questions like, hey, how do you guys pick your game of the week? Well, here's a great example of a fantastic game that's going to take place, and certainly worthy of being our game of the week that you guys are covering there. That said, I, too, picked a horse to ride in that Northwest Conference, and the Grove Bulldogs are going on the road and getting it done, baby.
On the road, huh? Okay.
That's a
ground attack.
It's hard to argue. Trenton Barraza, man.
Yep. I like the Bulldogs in this one, and I think it's going to be close. It's going to be a dog fight.
And Columbus Grove, which is uncharacteristic in a rivalry game like they had last week, they were able to, you know, get their starters some work and then, you know, kind of put in some subs and kind of coast to victory there. So they're going to be, you know, a little bit maybe better rested. It's going to be a heck of a football game.
It's going to be a great one.
Join us 6:30 for our Gamecast presented by 3Chord on Friday night. Let's take a break and hear from White Pines Golf Course. Ready to hit the links? Grab your clubs and head to White Pines Golf Course at 1640 County Road 2 in Swanton. White Pines Golf Course has its couples tailgate coming up on September 7th with a 5:30 p.m. start and a Folds of Honor scramble on September 14th at 1 p.m. For a tee time or to sign up for their events, call 419-875-5535 or visit whitepinesgc.com. Also, sign up for their early membership of $885 or $796.50 for seniors 55 and older. Early membership is play now, and greens fees are covered for the rest of 2024 and all of 2025. When you play White Pines Golf Course, the experience will exceed your expectations. Thank you to White Pines Golf Course for their support. Also, our title sponsor of Saturday morning's Rise and Rewind. 8 a.m. again this Saturday, Coach.
Let's go 8 a.m. Man, we rolled for almost 3 hours.
Yeah, we were here till almost noon last Saturday.
Man, there's times I look at the slate of games and I'm like, we can get an hour out of that, but boy. Then you throw in the coffee club and it gives us some content, and boy, next thing you know, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, Schuller has not taken in.
Not yet. One of these days.
He's afraid of coming out here on Saturday mornings with the coffee crew out here. It could be a long morning for Mr. Mommy.
Imagine if he'd have rolled in here Saturday morning last year when he picked Napoleon to beat Liberty.
Well, who's he going to pick this year?
Where we at? We're coming up.
That was a big talk Saturday morning.
They wanted to know who Schuller was picking in week 2.
Yeah.
Well, we're about to find out here shortly.
You ever hit the White Pines links?
I tell you what, I love White Pines. What a great track. My brother-in-law had a hole-in-one out there this year on number 17. It was a
golf outing.
First one I've ever witnessed.
Wow.
So man, what a gem of a place. So if you're looking for a place to go play, don't skip White Pines.
No, thank you to Karen Gerken, and get your membership paid for next year because you can play the rest of this year for the same price.
It's a good deal.
I don't know why you wouldn't do that.
It's a no-brainer.
I wonder if Rex has got his membership, or did he get somebody to pay for it for him?
He asked for golf cards, gift certificates for Christmas. Rex doesn't pay to golf.
Usually that's what they're doing. Saturday mornings, the coffee club's out here when the weather's nice. Rex is rifling through these cards. Him and Louis Miller.
Oh, is that right?
Hey, Louis, give me that one there.
It's like a trade?
No, he just wants to see what Louis's got and what the other guys accumulate. I had some for White Pines a couple years ago. I made the mistake of mentioning that I had some free greens fees for White Pines on our Saturday morning show. It might have been last year, actually. He follows me out to my truck. Says, where are those gift cards at, Lynn? Where are those? Can I get a couple of those?
No shame, man. No shame. But I did say, Neil, I told Lynn Saturday, Coach Lindgren has softened a little over the years. He's, dare I say, turning into a sweet old man now.
Is that right?
Yeah. He still gets his digs in, but just a lot more compassionate than he used to be.
What are you talking about? There was no compassion on Saturday for me if you could have heard what was said off the air.
I know. I will confess I laughed pretty hard at a couple things Coach Lindgren said that might have been a shade off color. But, boy.
You might as well hit me with a 2x4. It would have been less painful.
I'll tell you when we wrap up here.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, listen, I bet you could get some color. You get you and Normie Zeider and Coach Lindgren in here together and set at a table. That might be a good throwback segment here this year, Lynn.
Nobody loves Rex Lindgren more than Norm Zeider.
Yes.
Lynn will tell you.
Yeah. That is true.
Oh, man.
That is true. Yeah. All right, guys, moving on. Archbold down at St. Henry making the long trip down to Matt Country. 34-10. Archbold won in 2022 and 29-0 a year ago. Can the new look streaks, a lot of names on the stats from Friday night that we had never talked about before, but they get it done against Genoa late in that one. Can they go down to Matt Country and take down the Redskins?
Razor thin margin here. St. Henry lost week 1 at St. Mary's Memorial. So that's a good tune-up in a physical game like that. I rarely, if ever, pick against the Archbold Blue Streaks. And I'm not ready to make my pick yet. Go ahead, Neil.
I'm going with Archbold.
Are you?
Well, I tell you, last week, I know I took, I'm quite certain I took Genoa in that matchup. And
they started hot.
Yep, they started well. But credit to the Blue Streaks. I think we had a lot of questions around Archbold, lost a lot of guys.
Sure.
You know, what's going to happen? How are they going to adjust to that? Coach Dominique, as always, has his team ready to go. And I believe he will again this Friday on the road. Give me the Streaks.
I'm going to live to regret this, I'm sure, but it's no fun if we're all in cahoots all the time.
True. We're not already tonight, though.
No, but we're close.
Yeah.
I think this one comes down to the fourth quarter, and St. Henry finds a way to get it done. Coach Dominic knows I love him. He's one of my favorite coaches, but I'm on the St. Henry Redskins train this week. St. Henry at home.
A lot of tradition there. Not a bad pick.
I know it.
Interesting.
That's hard for me to do. It's hard for me to pick against this.
If the streaks can go down to St. Henry, I think we may see the first Todd Peterson appearance here on Monday night. He's been talking about it for 6 years, and he never shows up.
Yeah.
He's probably going to bring you a shirt, and that is a good precursor to what's happening next, because Fairview is at Delta, and look what you're wearing tonight. You picked against the Apaches last week. You picked Boissy, so he comes rolling in here tonight with a Fairview shirt on.
Yep. You see what's happening here.
He's just trying to add to his wardrobe.
Garner favor.
Here's what I want to admit. This is what I came to confess tonight. I made a very, very bad mistake last week when I picked against Doug Rakes and the resurgent Fairview Apaches. This is my peace offering.
Stand up and show the folks your shirt there, for those watching on the video.
It says, Yippee 2020 OHSAA football playoffs.
And people out there are like, what the heck is Yippee?
So Yippee is a special football play that I shared with Coach Rakes at the Northwest Ohio Football Coach Association Clinic at the Hancock Hotel in Findlay. Let's just say it was after hours, and that's where some of the best ideas, and he literally had a napkin, and I said, I'm going to give you this play, and you save it. You practice it. You practice it like your life depends on it, but you save it until you absolutely need it. And he saved it all year. They practiced it every week. They're in the regional semis or regional final. Clarify that, against Colonel Crawford in 2020.
I was there, mind you.
Lynn was there. Colonel Crawford was really good.
Oh, they had a huge running back.
Big load.
Oh, my goodness.
And
monster.
So they had to get a 2-point conversion, and Coach Rakes calls his players over and says, what do you guys want to do? And one of the players, I think it was Tim Brook, said, how about Yippee? And it takes a little nerve to run it, okay, because it's kind of a feast or famine type deal.
It was the third round. That would have been regional semis.
Okay.
Yeah, regional semis back then, because then they lost to Grove at Defiance the next week in the regional championship.
Okay, and so they ran Yippee, and they executed it, and they won the game, and these were their playoff shirts, and Coach Rakes made sure I got one. And I turn around last week and pick against them, and they made me pay for it, and I deserve every bit of it. Here's my peace offering, but but Delta ain't Wasion. They're going on the road into a rejuvenated Delta football stadium. Mike Vickers, they're flying high after lambasting Ayersville last week. The celebration at Fairview comes to a halt Friday night. Delta gets it done.
I like the Panthers, too.
Do you?
I do. I'm going to go with Delta and Mike Vickers. They showed me a lot what they did against Ayersville, but that takes...
I know.
You wore that shirt this week, and then you picked against them?
I just want them to know it's not personal. It's not personal.
You've picked against them 2 weeks in a row.
I know. Now,
Sherwood is going to be up in arms.
That said, if Fairview gets it done this week, I will pick them. I don't care if they're playing the 49ers. I will pick Fairview from here on out. All right?
That's fair.
I'm just putting that out there.
Another aspect of that Yippee play, the Fairview kids, I've talked to Doug about this play a million times. They didn't think it was going to work. They thought it was the stupidest play in the entire world. They thought there was no chance that play would work. Just to give you a little more background.
I believe it.
Because I don't want to give away too much.
We don't give this away, because if I ever get back into coaching.
If you witness the play, I mean, it's out there.
So I say, anytime I'm getting ready to install it or share it with another coach, listen to me. At first, you're going to say this is ridiculous, because you will, until it wins you a game, and then you're a believer.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, in terms of impressive wins last week, Delta's among the top of my list, and one that, no discredit to Coach Vickers and the Delta Panthers, but one I didn't see coming. But man, oh man, did they lay it in on Ayersville. And I think, too, that they get it done again this week at home. The Delta community is excited about that place is going to be packed and rocking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Packed and rocking.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Delta.
Interesting.
Like Coach Strock.
Interesting.
I like what I'm seeing out of Coach Vickers and crew over there in Delta this season. Northwood is at Lake this week, guys. The Flyers went down to Lipsick last week and got a win. Northwood fell in their opener to begin the 2024 season.
Did Rossford? Who beat Northwood?
Rossford.
Rossford did.
Yep,
Okay.
21-14.
I try to take my medicine when I deserve it. Lynn Groll on this program a week ago took the Lake Flyers on the road at Lipsick, and I thought he was losing it.
Same thing.
Okay?
Same thing, yep.
And he was right. We were wrong.
Coach Bishop was quick to remind me on Saturday morning I was the only media person in Northwest Ohio to take him.
And
I take credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I tip my cap.
I did not call that one.
It's rare that I'm wrong, but that was one of those occasions. And fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I will not make that mistake this week. The Lake Flyers at home, and if they get tripped up, I won't pick them ever again.
Wow.
Yeah, we're
throwing out some ultimatums this week.
Yeah, some wholesale type.
You know what? I just feel strongly anymore. I feel like I've been burnt sometimes when I've stuck my neck out for different programs and coaches, and no more Mr. Nice Guy from me.
Well, another two schools are separated by just a couple miles. Good rivalry here. I'm going with the Lake Flyers. I was impressed with what I saw last week. Going down to Lipsick, getting a win there is no easy task. And with Northwood stumbling, I like what I see out of Lake.
Yeah, I agree.
Dylan Wright, their running back.
Sticking with the Flyers.
Keep a hold of that name.
Okay.
I'm sticking with them here in the first couple weeks. Next week, they're at Delta.
Ooh.
At Delta next week are the Lake Flyers.
I'm curious to see.
If they're both 2-0 going to that matchup, that's a...
It could be fun.
That is going to be interesting. I forgot to mention our records from a week ago.
I wonder.
Boy, you guys are in trouble quick.
I think I had 8 or 9 blemishes just off the top of my head.
I went 27-4.
27.
Neil Schuller 19-14. He's already way back in the standings. Braden Martin 23-10, and Coach Strock 23-8. I already got a 4-game lead on you after 1 week. I got like an 8.5 game lead on Schuller.
That was a rough week last week.
Buried in week 1.
It was
barely over 500.
Yeah, no kidding.
19-14 for Schuller.
Oh, here, watch. I'm gonna have to eat crow. I've done it already here. Now, I don't want to ruin the surprise for folks. I will emerge and win this entire thing. I got hot last year, and that starts this week for me. But congrats, Lynn. You earned it.
Yep, absolutely. Well done.
You earned it last week.
I'm not planning to relinquish that lead. I'm just going to keep adding to it week by week.
Listen, the greatest comebacks start from the bottom.
That's right. Can't come back if you're at the top the whole time, Schuller.
You got that
if
right.
Schuller comes back from that deficit,
There's got to be some. I'm going to have to think about this for next week. There's got to be some type of an award.
If you rally from that deficit, I will get you an award, and we'll proudly display it.
Yeah, we'll put it maybe over here. Yeah.
And if anybody else, wants to give us a T-shirt or a bobblehead or a helmet for our desk here,
Oh, yeah.
we'd gladly accept.
I like it.
Or a banner for back here of some kind.
I like that. I do.
Any of our programs that want to chip something in?
Yeah,
I like it.
absolutely.
And we'll talk about it, whatever it is. If there's meaning behind it,
Or a former player has an old helmet or something, or jersey they want to get rid of. My only concern is, I do have a concern. What will the coffee club?
Well, I think we got to restrict it to an item of program. Otherwise, I mean, there's certain individuals that we know maybe overloaded a little bit more than others.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one item, but we need some kind of like a cage or something dropping down for our studio here to
Maybe
keep
some
those
plexiglass.
keep those hoodlums away from it.
Well, if it's anything of value, it'll be on Marketplace by the afternoon with this group. So, I agree.
Make sure we check all the pawn shops.
Yeah, yeah.
Give them a read on anything that we have.
The big
shows up.
Swanton's next up on our list. The Buffalo over there in Swanton. You got to watch that. Have our stuff end up over there.
Yeah. Matchup of 0-1 teams. Swanton at Hicksville. Hicksville won this game a year ago, 28-6.
Yeah, Hicksville last week, obviously starts the week off that not a lot of people would want to against a Patrick Henry squad that is looking really, really good. Swanton trying to get their feet under them with a new coaching staff. Going on the road, I'm going to take the Aces in this one to go to 1-1. I think Swanton's still just piecing some things together there. I think Coach Davis over there at Hicksville is going to have these guys ready.
Well, if you're Swanton, as Coach McAfee's trying to rebuild that football program, and you look at this schedule, there's only a few games that you're able to circle and say that might be one we can get. This is one of the few, if they're going to get one this year, one of their few opportunities, and that's no disrespect. That's just, we talked about, I think, a reasonable goal for Swanton this year is just closing the gap, And, but in Hicksville, conversely, sees this as a game they can get, and they're at home. I like the Hicksville Aces to get it done.
Make it a clean sweep. I like the Aces, too, in that matchup, guys. How about Evergreen, coming off a victory over Elmwood a week ago at Ottawa Hills, who got pummeled by Gibsonburg. I have some concerns about the Green Bears here. Get your input here first about this matchup, see if I want to change my initial thought on this matchup.
Yeah, I've been high on Evergreen before, and they just haven't been consistent enough. The last couple of years they've won the games that they probably should, which is good, but they seldom have won games where maybe it was even or they were an underdog. As you said, Lynn, Evergreen just rolled against Elmwood week 1. Ottawa Hills got shoved around at Gibsonburg. So how do you pick Ottawa Hills? How do you pick them week 2? I don't know, but I'm gonna because I believe in Coach Carter. I believe in so many of those dudes they have on that team. I just can't see them settling for an 0-2 start. Ottawa Hills.
Sorry, Village. Coach Carter. Sorry.
You got burned last week by them.
They're going to have to prove it up there in the trenches. They're going to have to prove it here the next few weeks before I'm going to get back on that bandwagon. They got Swanton next week, then they got Port Clinton at home. Probably pick them next week against Swanton, but the Port Clinton game, I'm not sure. I don't know. I like the Vikes. Barry Bach, come on, my man. I haven't picked you much, but this week I'm counting on the Vikings. Get it done for me in the Village.
That's an interesting matchup because Ottawa Hills, their back's against the wall. I agree they'd be a favorite next week. Port Clinton will give them all they want in 2 weeks. They certainly don't want to start 1-3.
Nope, not at all. And I tell you what, credit to Coach Barry Bach and the Evergreen Vikings, an impressive win last week. That Ottawa Hills win, we forget that, Gibsonburg back in the day, that was an old tack rivalry there that, Gibsonburg, traditional running pound game out there, physical game. So that one did not maybe surprise me like it did some people. But I tell you what, a bad place to be coming off of that loss is in the Village this coming Friday night. And I think that Coach Carter and crew have it right back on the rails. Give me Ottawa Hills.
Smart man, Neil. Smart man.
These guys are just scared of the Village.
The Village, yeah. I know I'm always welcome in the Village.
Well, I'll be welcome back there. You got to pick up some wins. And I'll be back on board with you, but I'm not. After that performance last week, I didn't like it. I don't like it. So I'm picking against you this week. I'm going with Evergreen.
Rocco, Reddick. Don't let me down,
Chase
boys.
Miller.
There you go.
Chase Miller, love Chase Miller.
Nick Anderson.
Nice quarterback. Anderson's another one. Yeah, they're just too talented, but you said it. They've got to get it done in the trenches.
6 points last week.
They got to get better in the
6
trenches.
points is all you put on the board against Gibsonburg.
I know. They might have rolled in there a little too high and got their balloon
Or
popped.
7. They got
We
7,
just picked
sorry.
one up there.
They did get the PAT, but
I guarantee it, Neil.
Yep.
Patrick Henry at Ayersville. This is a game that has not happened since 2016 when they met in the playoffs at Napoleon, and that was a heck of a matchup. Remember Donnie Johnson,
Dawson Dales, Kent Peterson.
Yeah.
The one thing I remember about that game, I was on the Ayersville sideline. I was their host that night at Buckenmeyer Stadium. There was a collision between Kent Peterson and Dawson Dales.
I remember that too. I was going to...
That was like...
You could hear it
Yes.
in the back row of the Buckenmeyer stands.
Yes, you could. Wow. Yes, you could. And Patrick Henry prevailed that night at the buzzer with Ayersville deep in their territory driving. And they're going to renew the rivalry on Friday night. But dare I say, maybe two teams going in different directions?
Yes, I think that is a correct statement.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say after what we saw week 1. Hey, Patrick Henry, I've got him picked to win the NWOAL, and it rolls on this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they can kind of name their score as they get ready for that big matchup down at Columbus Grove next week.
Yeah, and their schedule has set up in a way that they can, get their guys some work and, hopefully get out healthy and move on and live to fight another day. And I will be curious to see the improvement from week 1 to week 2 with Ayersville, because without seeing the film, not much could have gone right for them in that game with that type of score to a team like Delta, who's not built to score 48 points. So I'd be curious as to how they did that. But yeah, I like the Patriots on the road at Ayersville.
Let's take a break and hear from the Gerken Companies again.
Hard-working individuals have been the heart of the Gerken Companies for generations. Together we construct the highways and infrastructure that strengthen our communities. Gerken is seeking rock-solid performers. We offer generous benefits, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. Want to be part of something big, steady, and stable with room to grow? Whether you're experienced or just starting your career, we encourage you to apply at gerkencompanies.com/careers.
Thank you to the Gerken Companies again for sponsoring our podcast this season and our Rock Solid Performance. If you're just joining us, rewind a little ways. We gave out our Rock Solid Performance earlier here in this episode. We'll be giving that out every week here on the podcast as we run through the 2024 season as we head into week number 2. Spencerville is at Wayne Trace. Spencerville 1-0, Wayne Trace 0-1. Spencerville is 4-0 all-time against the Raiders. First meeting since 1976.
Wow.
Interesting. Just looking at last week, Spencerville had a win there over Ridgemont last week by 10. Wayne Trace losing to Fort Recovery on the road. They're at home this week, but I do like Spencerville in this one. I think that, a decent win by them last week. Let's see what happens here. Wayne Trace, I'm just not convinced yet.
Well, I'm going to say this.
So give me Spencerville.
I don't know a ton about either teams, but I know this. A 29-19 victory over Ridgemont isn't enough to convince me when you are making the trek to Haviland, Ohio. Give me the Wayne Trace Raiders to get it done at home.
Give them to me too. I'll take the Raiders in this matchup.
Okay.
I think they're gonna take care of business this week. Eden 1-0 at Antwerp 1-0. Antwerp leads the all-time series 28-17, 54-24. Antwerp a year ago. Eden won in the playoffs in 2021, 26-21. That's their last win in the series. And a little trivia question for you guys. Bob Olin has a connection to Antwerp. Do you know what years he was at Antwerp?
No. He's been too many places for me to track, man.
Okay. He began coaching at Antwerp in 1979, left after the 82 season.
I was 4. Wow.
4 years.
I was 4 years old when he rolled into Antwerp.
Yep.
Wow.
First meeting in 1979, Eden won 24-0. Antwerp got the next two, 7-0, 8-7, and then Eden won 6-0 in 1982. So Coach Owen put up all of 15 points in those 4 years.
Wow.
Do you think he scores 15 this Friday?
I believe he does.
He might. He might, but I think they need to shore up the defense. I'm going to tell you something else. I'm going to beat this drum and continue beating this drum. Cohen Holbert needs more touches on offense. I just think that offense goes and it kind of has a little bit of a different identity when Cohen Holbert is involved. In me saying that, I think Coach Owen is more apt to, well, I'm not giving it to him then. Well, you get what you get.
You want to win games, Coach?
You want to win football games?
And I also say let Kyler Sapp run it every once in a while, too.
I agree. Kid's a phenomenal athlete.
Imagine him and Cohen in the backfield just mixing it up a little bit with the run.
Well, it'd be like Lincoln Krager and Grant Smith.
Yeah, very similar, I think.
So, with that said, boys, I'm going to get the party started. Until Coach Owen makes those adaptations, I like the Antwerp Archers, who many doubted last week. I like the Archers to move to 2-0, and I've got some very good friends in Eden, but until the necessary things happen, I'm going with the Archers. Coach Jason Hale.
Well, I tell you what, the Archers surprised me last week on that. I don't know if somewhere there was a surprise. Either it was on Montpelier's side or Antwerp's side. But seeing that score, I had to double check it Friday night because I was like, wow, that was not one that I saw coming.
He goes outside Black Swamp Football to get his info, and that's what got him.
Well,
that's why he went 19-14 last week. That's what happens when you don't listen to the Black Swamp experts.
And here's what I'll tell you. Jason Hale doing a tremendous job at Antwerp. There's no question about it. I think Eden. I like Eden. I had them all week so far, and I'm going to stick with my pick. I think Coach Owen's going to make the necessary adjustments to get things done and give me the Eden Bombers.
Tory took every word out of my mouth. Antwerp is going to get it done this week.
See, Neil?
Unless they run the ball.
And we don't talk about these things.
I want Kyler to have 15 carries, and I want Cohen to have 15 carries.
Now, if they each have...
And if the game dictates it, maybe even more.
Well, then, if that's the case, can I recant my pick? Because my pick's predicated on those guys not getting...
It is mine, too, because I don't think they're going to get it that much.
Okay, all right.
I think they're going to get it. I think they are.
All right.
Kyler got to run it a little bit in the second half more last week, but I'm not sure. I'm not sold about what's going to happen there. So I'm going to take the Archer.
At the end of the day, they got to shore up defense. You can't give up 26 points.
But if you run the ball, that's going to help your defense.
Yeah,
disagree.
Absolutely.
Shorten the game a little bit.
And disagree.
It's not a game of Tecmo. It's got to stop somebody.
Hilltop 0-1 at Edgerton, a battle of Williams County. Edgerton leads the series 33-13. Edgerton has won 11 straight going back to 2007 in this matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be an emotional week there in Edgerton. And as Lynn said at the outset, our thoughts and prayers and condolences are to all involved there at Edgerton. With that said, it's going to galvanize them. They're going to play their tails off at home Friday night, and they're going to get the win, Edgerton.
Yeah, agree with absolutely everything you said, Tory. Heartbreaker for the Cadets last week, losing by a point in the opener there. But, yeah, the Bulldogs are now playing for something a little bit different, and that's going to show on Friday night and possibly beyond. So, give me the Bulldogs.
I agree.
I like Edgerton in that matchup as well. All right. Maybe the main event in Northwest Ohio on Friday night will be just down the road at Rex Lindgren Stadium, Kip Kern Field. The 1-0 Napoleon Wildcats rolling in here on a high after the win over Defiance. Liberty Center has been rolling the last few years in the regular season as American Freedom Energy will host another tailgate. They have, is this week?
I think Outlaw.
Is this Outlaw this week?
Right. I think.
I can't find the flyer that was out here, but I believe it is Outlaw.
I think it is.
Yeah. 4:30 they start. Anyway,
Could be something
there'll be
good
food
no
and
matter
drinks.
what, yeah.
Napoleon folks, stop on out. I know the Liberty folks will be here and before and after. Stop out here before and after and get you some eats and drinks and enjoy a good Friday night of football here at Liberty Center.
That is going to be one of the better crowds that they've had at Rex Lindgren Stadium, Kip Kern Field, in some time. Now, we know they've had some unbelievable crowds, but this one, it's just different this year with the Wildcats coming off that win. It's been a few years since they've rolled in here off of a win. The tenor of this has changed this week.
Liberty is 7-2 since the series resumed in 2014. You know this, Coach. You won the first two.
Yep. And should have won the first three.
Okay.
Should have won the third one, which was back here at Liberty. It was overtime, and we had a touchdown lead. And, in overtime, you start from, start from the, 20, 25, whatever it is now. And we had them 4th and 20. We sacked them a couple times. We had them 4th and 20 up a touchdown. Just basically guard the goal line, right?
Didn't happen.
They get behind us and score and beat us in double overtime. And after that game, that was a tough one to swallow. We should have won that game. Coach Lindgren shook my hand and said, "Thank you for the opportunity," because he had wanted to play Napoleon for a long time. And
I was just going to ask you about how this series resumed. What was the genesis of this returning? Because it was a long time NWAL battle.
Yep. And Rex, from the minute I got the job, he was lobbying to play us, and I had other things I had to get situated, before I worried about playing them. And he actually came out to one of our two-a-day practices. Okay, we were practicing in the morning. They were practicing later in the day, and he came out to two-a-day practice. We weren't scheduled to play each other yet, and he said, please, just give us this opportunity. And I knew, here's the thing, I knew what I was getting into. In the first year, we won, it was something like 30-something to 13. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
And
convincing.
It was convincing. It was played over 2 days because we got lightning. There was lightning Friday night, and we went home Friday night with a lead. And talk about a sleepless night. And then we were able to run the ball very effectively. We had a young man named Michael Gillen who had a big night catching the ball from Blake Dunbar, my quarterback, and we ended up rolling in that game. And I'm waiting for Lynn. Did you find that score?
What year was that, 14? Or 13?
I want to say 14 or 15.
2014 was 35-12.
Okay. Yeah. So it was fairly.
That was the first year that the series resumed.
And I remember distinctly. Someone made the comment that they were disappointed we only won by that much, because they're thinking, Charles Buckenmeyer, 1970s, and so that wasn't even good enough. And then we win year 2. We should have won year 3, and they've had the upper hand since. And here's the thing I've told people. I knew what I was signing up for getting into that one, and so times have changed. They've had the upper hand, and is this the year Napoleon can get it done? Because I said this about Whitmer last week, Neil. A lot of buses roll into Whitmer, and it's 14-0 immediately because of all the psychology and intimidation and things like that. A lot of buses roll into Rex Lindgren Stadium down 14-0 or more just because of the psyche. I don't think that's going to be the case with the Wildcats this year. The makeup of that team psychologically is different. I am convinced of that. And I'm not just saying that based on the one performance last Friday. I'm saying that based on knowing the character of the kids involved. And so I feel like I have a little bit of insight there. They won't be intimidated Friday night. I'm not going to release my pick yet, though, and I lost my pen.
Yes, you did. I am going with the Liberty Center Tigers.
Well, last year this was...
I've just seen it too often.
Yeah. Fair assessment, Lynn. Not anyone that can really argue that point.
Somebody comes in here and responds and wants to go punch for punch with them, I'm going with the Tigers. Yeah. I still think they got the depth and the dudes to get it done. Well,
one of you both probably mentioned this pick last year for me and the subsequent coffee club chatter, and that's fine, and it's been well documented and made fun of. The interesting thing, nobody can debate the body of work that Liberty Center does, particularly at home. Tory, you mentioned Napoleon. This time last year we were looking at Napoleon like, wow, they're on the struggle bus a little bit here. What's going to be the makeup? Only to find themselves at season's end maybe a few minutes away from a NLL Cardinal Division championship.
Sure.
Fast forward to last week, you got a senior class there. You talked about this. I don't think it was on air or anything, but just, what that River Rock means, and, how you don't go 4 years in that program without having it on either side.
Yep.
The things that I think that I look at with Napoleon, particularly this time last year, that I had so many questions just around, their grit and their mettle and, their ability to just overcome adversity and press through it. My eyes were open last week.
Yep.
Because they had every reason to not win that game, but they did.
Yep.
And I'm just seeing something a little bit different here. I don't know if it's that senior class leadership, which it may well be. Regardless, give me the Wildcats, baby.
Oh, Schuller.
Ruby, Espo, George Eggers, Coach Swery. I'm picking you again. Unpopular opinion here in LC, but go get it done down the street Friday.
He's fearless.
Napoleon Wildcats.
I mean, is it fearless or is it some other adjective we need to use here? I think there's been a few probably in Liberty Center.
Napoleon
that we
Wildcats.
Okay, well,
alma mater or your new hometown, Strock.
Yeah, I know.
I don't need you going into long diatribe. I just want the pick here.
Yeah, well, here's what I'm going.
All people are waiting for out there.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to analyze it in 30 seconds or less. When you look at the different areas, I gave Napoleon the advantage last week in the skill department against Defiance. In the trenches, I gave Defiance an advantage. It was epic. In this game, if Owen Espinoza has time to throw, Liberty's going to have their hands full on the defensive side. With that said, you are going to see a completely different game plan from Liberty Center, where Defiance kind of played coverage, rushed only a few guys. They were playing 10, 12 yards off.
That's not in Liberty's DNA. Matt Bryan and that defensive crew they're going to bring the heat.
They are going to load up the box. Okay, and they're going to blitz, and they're going to have run blitzes in there too. They are going to pin their ears back. They're going to roll the dice on the flanks at times. They're going to roll the corners up. They're going to say, you're not getting off the line, and you're not going to catch 15 hitches throughout the course of the night because we're giving you cushion. With that said, Napoleon is going to need a couple turnovers. Their young offensive and defensive interior is going to have to even be a shade better this week to have a chance, but I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment. Liberty Center's recent history is going to be the reason I have to give the edge to the Tigers in this one. And I'll tell you something else. What could make Liberty dangerous this week is their antennas got raised with Napoleon getting that win last week. Napoleon's confidence is through the roof. I love to see it. And Trey Rubenstein and some of those guys you mentioned, when they're confident, you mix that with their talent level, but are they going to have enough in the trenches to get it done and bottle up that Liberty running game? Because that's a whole nother animal.
Defiance had pretty good success running it a week ago.
They did. And
Except
I think
the second half, and Defiance, that one possession, got away from it and threw it three times, if I remember correctly, right early in the third quarter.
They did.
Maybe their second possession.
First possession, I think.
First possession was it. I want to see how Napoleon responds when somebody heats him up.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if Liberty doesn't this week. Now does Trey Rubenstein burn them early in the game for a big play?
Yeah.
And then does that change your whole game plan? I don't know. There's a lot of X factors here.
Well, let's keep in mind, too, though, that Napoleon understands what they're getting with Liberty as well. So they're adjusting, and they're putting their game plan together here, too, this week. So these are not unfamiliar.
There's got to be a little bit of a mental block that you've lost 7 in a row.
Yeah.
And you roll into Liberty, you know you're going to get punched.
Yep. Yeah.
Are you ready for that?
I know. And the mentality starts.
Is it 14-0 before you start?
Yeah.
Or are you ready to go blow for blow with the Tigers? Because they're going to bring it.
Well, it's like if you're going to agree to step in the ring with Mike Tyson, right? You know that even if you win that thing, you're going to be beaten up throughout the process. And I think a huge key for Napoleon is getting off to a fast start in this game more than anything because of what you said, Lynn, 7 in a row. So
I think they're better mentally than they have been in the past.
I agree.
But like you said, if Liberty busts off a big run or takes a 15-play, just run it down their throat to start the game.
And then start getting some sacks and some, you know. Yeah, no, I agree. But if Napoleon has something to feel good about early, and can build on that, because momentum's a funny thing, as we know.
Yep.
So
and George Eggers is a different kind of back. You go back to the Weaver kid that they had.
John Weaver. His brother Brad Weaver was physical.
George Eggers isn't going to be afraid to lower his shoulder.
No, he's not.
No.
He's not. And Napoleon has a nucleus of dudes that I know will trade blows. Do they have enough of them? Do they have the depth and all those things we talked about? I wish. Now, I'm tickled that we're doing Grove, Liberty Benton. I wish.
I do too.
Yeah.
Could want some updates from folks here at Liberty Center.
Normie Zeider, I think, will keep us filled in on things. He might be caught up in it emotionally, though. Normie will be fired up Friday.
Yeah, he will.
Ryan Zeider will be dialed in.
Yeah. I haven't heard from Ryan in a while. He's not lingering around out there.
Is he peeking through the window there?
You never know. No.
Never know with
But
him.
so, Lynn, to encapsulate this whole matchup, when I agreed to play, back in 14 or whatever year it was, I just thought it was a great thing for Henry County, and I'll be honest with you, I did, and I know.
Well, you're hoping for matchups like this one.
Yeah, that's what you plan on.
You can probably say better than me, but I don't remember a Liberty Napoleon game with this much hype in a long, long time.
No. The year I had Gerdeman and those guys, Liberty Center came to our place, and that was things were pretty revved up there, and it's been hard to get it done against them for the Cats, but this is going to be interesting. That's why they play the game, right?
That's why they play the game.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yep. Let's take a break and hear from American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store off Route 24 on State Route 109, just south of Liberty Center, now has 88 unleaded fuel and is your one-stop shop for fuel, food, drinks, and much, much more, including locally raised meats and home-baked goods. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store is proud to support Black Swamp Football and is the host of the Black Swamp Football podcast, football show, and Saturday mornings Rise and Rewind. Stop in and see Glenn and Greg today and make American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store a part of your everyday routine. Thank you again to the Baden Hops for their support and hosting us for pretty much all of our endeavors out here on Monday and Saturday mornings for Rise and Rewind.
With the Baden Hops, Lynn, anything we need, the answer is always yes. That's how selfless Glenn and Greg are, and they either, if they can't find a way, they'll make one, whatever it is. This new desk, if Glenn needs to modify something, he's always got the power drill and a 2x4, and
he's at our beck and call.
Yes, he is.
Can't thank them enough. Man, I wish I could be at the tailgate on Friday night.
I know.
How fast can we get back from Liberty Benton?
I'd say I've blazed
that 88.
You get back post game.
If we just have regular 87 octane, I don't see us making it. With the 88, there's a chance we make it. It'd be worth a try.
I'd stop out here.
Be worth a try. You think we can get Schuller to come out here after that one?
I'll tell you what. I ain't afraid to come out here.
I know you're not. That's what I love.
Right in. I'll walk right in with a Wildcat sweatshirt on if I had one.
I'll tell you what, this guy is loyal to his NLL brethren, isn't he?
He picked all NLL teams a week ago.
I know.
Well, he's already picked one this week. I think that's the first one we've had on the slate.
I think he's afraid of Richard Brown. I think that's what it is.
We'll get into the NLL games. Let's see where he goes with all the NLL and CHSL teams this week.
Good point.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested in that. Joe Kirkendall took the loss a week ago to Lake. They are at 1-0 Van Buren this week. The Vikings won last year 48-0. Does Coach Kirkendall and the Vikes get back on track on the road at Van Buren?
There is nothing I'm more sure about in this world this week than Lipsick getting a win on the road at Van Buren. That's it.
Interesting.
This is it?
That's it.
No
further analysis needed.
Not so fast, my friend, because I tell you what, I'm not yet a Lake believer, but I believe in what they did last week. Van Buren gets the win. They're home this week. Give me Van Buren.
Neil.
No.
You know what?
No.
I just chalked the 19-14 record up to just a bad week.
No, just picked one up.
There's a deeper issue here.
I got Lipsick too. What do they call it? The stone cold lead pipe lock or whatever they call it on NFL?
It's a lead pipe lock of the week.
Okay.
Would you let us help you?
No.
Please switch your pick.
No.
Go with Lipsick.
No, Van Buren.
There's no helping him, Lynn.
I don't know. We tried. We should maybe pick our games first and give him a chance.
You know what?
Should we? Should we?
I think it's something to consider.
Montpelier took that loss to Antwerp a week ago. They are at Woodmore, who went into North Central and got the victory there. This is an intriguing matchup, but I like Coach Andy Robinson. I think they're going to improve this week and get it done on the road at Woodmore. 9-7 a year ago. This game was close a year ago. Montpelier won at 9-7. But I don't see Montpelier going 0-2.
I don't either. This is one, if you cheat and look at my picks here, I've got my winners highlighted. This is one that I call a game time decision. I couldn't pick it. I did not realize, I didn't do my homework like I should have, I did not realize it was that close a year ago at Montpelier.
Yeah.
Correct.
And Woodmore just rolled last week, so you know they've got some confidence.
Yeah, is Woodmore improved this year?
Or did North Central just graduate too much?
Yes.
Boy.
I gave my pick.
You took Coach Robbie, right? And the Locos.
Yep.
I feel bad. I normally have my homework done here. In most cases, I do not.
Throw you for a loop there, or what?
Yeah, Woodmore. That's my question. Are the Wildcats? Are they improved? Are they?
Well, I'll tell you what. They're home this week, and they won last week by a big margin. Give me the Wildcats.
Okay, that's where I'm leaning.
You're going with Woodmore?
I didn't say it. I said that's where I'm leaning.
You said that's where you're leaning.
That's where I'm leaning, but...
do you want to go with 19 or 14?
Here we go.
Or 29 and 4?
I know, but the Locos, Lynn, they've got some pieces to pick up from last week. You can't turn the football over,
my friend.
I know, but Antwerp lost everybody.
Well, they weren't playing North Central. Now, I know Woodmore rolled North Central, but...
Don't let that peer pressure.
All right.
You know where you're at here.
Coach Robinson, I've got your back here this week. Don't let me down, dude. I'm going with the Locos.
Good pick. I really like the Locos. That's a stone cold lead pipe lock almost for me too.
Can't all be stone cold lead pipe locks.
If I feel confident about it, they can't be. How about that? Let's get back into the WBL here for a couple picks. Kenton 0-1 fell to Eastwood a week ago, and it's Ottawa Glandorf who fell to Liberty Benton. Both these teams reeling a little bit going into this matchup.
I'll cut to the chase here. Ottawa Glandorf's got to show me something. I thought even if they lost to LB last week, and I picked them, I look silly doing that, but I thought it'd at least be close. They offered a little resistance. Kenton hung in there last week, just fell short. I like the Kenton Wildcats on the road at Ottawa Glandorf.
Yep, I agree with that too. Lost by 3 against Eastwood. That's a stout team. Not that Liberty Benton is not, by the way, but a 3-point game against Eastwood. Give me Kenton.
Yep.
Give me the Wildcats in that matchup as well. Van Wert 1-0 goes to Bath as Frank Russell's crew tries to avoid the 0-2 mark here in week 2 at home with the Cougars coming to town who rolled over Bryan a week ago.
When it's two fairly evenly matched teams, I tend to side with the home team, but this will be an exception to the rule. Van Wert, have they reloaded? Are they legit? I don't think we know that yet, but they convinced me last week. I like the Van Wert Cougars on the road to move to 2-0.
Tory, I agree with you there. Convincing win against Bryan last week. Close loss for Bath there, only a 3-point game there, so as you said, they have home field, but I think Van Wert's going to be too much.
I don't think they put up 106 points like they did a year ago in this matchup combined, but I still like Van Wert.
Okay.
Not quite that high scoring this season. I don't know that they both have the offensive firepower that they did a year ago. Seago, impressive win over at Wood County foe Bowling Green at Tenora in Caruthers Stadium this week. Tenora leads the all-time series 8-6, first met in 1993. They resumed that in 2004 and resumed again a year ago.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Craig Rutherford? Ooh, that was something else in his first game with the Knights.
Yeah, and give both these teams credit. They both play a tough early season non-league slate for sure. The Tenora Rams have a little soul searching to do based on what I heard about Friday night here. We know Liberty Center is dominant as usual, but it sounds to me like Tenora didn't put up the fight that we've come to expect out of Tenora Ram football teams. And Otsego is going to be, I'm not saying they're Liberty Center yet because they're not, but it's going to be a similar type struggle for Tenora in this football game. And unless they do something drastic this week, look for Craig Rutherford to move to 2-0. I made a mistake last week and picked Bowling Green. I ain't going to do it 2 weeks in a row. Otsego gets it done.
Well, and we talked about this last week. Craig Rutherford would have his squad prepared for that game. I agree with you. I, too, took Bowling Green. I thought, just a little bit, not quite ready to go yet there at the Castle, but boy, we were wrong. Right?
I know.
There's no question about
insight,
it.
Did you
And what I'll tell you, I'm not going to make that same mistake twice. I think Otsego has got it together, and I think that they're going to head to Tenora and go 2-0.
I like that pick. I like Otsego as well to get it done in that matchup. They have Liberty Center coming to town next week. I think that game took on a little extra significance with what kind of Liberty's done the first week and what Otsego's done. I think that was maybe a game that Liberty people, it's Otsego, we've rolled them here last year. But I think that's going to be closer than what?
That will be the first game in the state of Ohio over with next week.
You think?
Yeah.
It could be.
There might be
that's a good
6
point.
total balls in the air in that game.
Yeah, it could be. It was 45-0 a year ago that Liberty beat Otsego. But this is a different team.
Yeah, it is.
With Coach Rutherford, and it's a team I don't think you want to play later on in the season once he gets that wing tee really cranked up there in Tontogany. Let's take a break and hear from K. Kern Painting. K. Kern Painting is a proud sponsor of Northwest Ohio Athletics. K. Kern Painting was formed in 1998 by Kinsey Kern in Toledo and now has a footprint in Toledo, Cleveland, and Michigan, and has road crews traveling throughout the United States. For a free estimate or job opportunities with K. Kern Painting, visit their website at kkernpainting.com or call 419-351-1250 or stop by their Toledo location at 211 North Reynolds Road. Thank you to Kenzie Kern, 1998 LC graduate.
Thank you, Kenzie.
Yeah, thank you for your support,
thank you for your
Kenzie.
support.
Yeah. Fostoria at BG. Somebody's got to get in the win column in this matchup.
Yeah, it's Fostoria took one on the chin last week to Division 6 Van Buren and has the Black Knights riding high. Neil likes them against Lipsick, and that tells me Neil's got to have a lot of respect for Fostoria if that win held as much weight. I like the Bowling Green Bobcats at home. Speaking of doing some soul searching, they better do it this week and get things right, but I like them to get it done at home.
I'm going with the Bobcats as well. Obviously took it on the chin against Otsego last week. Coach Kiss is going to get the guys regrouped with Fostoria headed down to go 1-1. Give me the Bobcats.
I'll take
But we got to get it done this week, Coach Kiss.
I'm going to take BG as well in that matchup. Northview is at Clay. Another chance for Coach Strock to redeem himself to Coach Gallius in the Oregon community this week with Northview coming to town.
I don't mind kicking this one off. I tell you what, impressive win on the road by the Clay Eagles last week in Sandusky. That is not an easy place to go on the road and play and get a win, but man, they did it in pretty decent, convincing fashion. I like the nucleus. We've talked about that leadership at Clay. Northview, obviously, we talk about team soul searching. I know that was a rough one last week against Southview. Coach Silm will get the guys regrouped regrouped, but man, this is another tough draw here with the Clay Eagles and their high-powered offense. I'm going with Clay.
Does Northview have a puncher's chance in this game, Neil?
I don't think that they do.
Okay.
I think that the offense of Clay is just going to be too much.
Okay.
There's too many weapons for Northview to cover all of them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schuller.
Yeah, and
Clay.
In this
If
one.
you don't pick Clay this week, you may be done. Forbid. Banned.
Northview's put guys in the NFL. We just going to ignore that fact?
Can't
What does
ignore
that
it.
have to do with Friday's game?
The type of kid they can
They
produce.
coming back to play?
No, I don't think so. Well, if any of my comments or picks last week offered motivation to Coach Gallius and his football team, then that's a feather in my cap because I have nothing but respect for him. I got burnt last week picking against the Clay Eagles, and it isn't going to happen again. They are at home. They're riding high there, man. They're gonna pack that place, and I have a feeling it's going to be a long night for the Northview Wildcats.
Agree with that, and I'll take Clay as well. Anthony Wayne at St. John's. Let's see where Mr. Schuller's allegiance lies with this matchup. AW rolled a year ago in this game.
Yep, so they had Hilliard Darby, a close loss for them last year. In town this last week, won 35-13. That's convincing fashion against a good Hilliard Darby team. St. John's went on the road last week to Wapak, lost that one 21-35. I think St. John's is still has a lot of pieces that they're trying to define, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, they've got enough firepower to make some teams pay, both in the passing game and running. Carson Powlowitz there, a decent dual threat quarterback. Carter Washington with a big week receiving last week. But the Anthony Wayne Generals, man, they got Grant Kinney, and he is an X-factor type of a player who just makes plays and scores. The Generals are going to go in to St. John's and come home with the victory.
Is the bar at St. John's set as high as it was a dozen years ago? And if it is or if it isn't, where's that bar at? What's considered a respectable, solid season at St. John's?
You got to produce a winning season at St. John's Jesuit.
I think you do, right?
Yeah, it's the expectation. There's zero debate about that. You're expected to have a winning season at the Titans, and they're dedicating the new field, I believe, tomorrow, Friday night as well. Fred Beyer Field.
Oh yeah,
Legend. That is
Yeah.
taking place as well. So some pomp and circumstance. I believe Hall of Fame night. So it'll be a packed house. And Lynn, I think you mentioned this a week ago. Might have been Rise Rewind. 0 love lost between the Anthony Wayne Generals and St. John's. So it will be a physical game. I just think that Anthony Wayne is a little bit better put together at this point right now, and will give St. John's all that they want.
I don't know that there's a huge discrepancy in talent here. Neil, you mentioned Grant Kinney. He's as advertised, great leader, great football player. I think on paper, talent-wise, it's a wash, in my opinion. But I think it comes down to Andy Brungard, his ability to get a young group of men to mesh and play for one another, and it's going to come down to execution and fundamentals. I do think this game goes into the fourth quarter. I really do, because I think that the Titans are going to be inspired. And they had a nice tune-up last week. I know they lost on the road, but Wapakoneta's legit.
Oh, you bet.
But I like the Generals to win a close one, closer maybe than some people think.
I'm going to go with the Generals, too. I was a little on the fence, but Schuller sold me.
The thing I'll tell you, like the St. John's faithful that maybe don't know about Wapakoneta, I mean, they're a legit program, have been for a long time. So, don't feel like that was one that you absolutely should have had without doubt or question.
Correct.
That was an earned game.
Yep, I agree with that.
Marysville is at Perrysburg. this week, guys?
Yep. Last week, I think a game for the Yellow Jackets that was likely a lot closer than what a lot of people expected, and St. Francis won that one 28-21. A lot of Joe Cini in that game on the ground. Josh Tackett's rushed quite well throughout that game also. I think a lot of people, this is one that this game last week that they looked at and said, oh my gosh, this does not reflect well for Perrysburg, but through sources of mine that'll remain unnamed, I think that a lot of hat tip to the St. Francis de Sales Knights, in as much as I think that a lot of people that were at that game that I have talked to said they're a lot better squad than what people maybe are giving them credit for. So I think a lot to be seen, and we'll get to that pick in a moment. Marysville coming to town, lost some guys from last year. That was a close game last year. I think a field goal game, Lynn? I don't know if you have it.
17-14.
Yeah, field goal game that Perrysburg won. Tough to play in Steinecker Stadium. That's a long drive for Marysville. Give me the Jackets in another close one.
Marysville comes in 0-1. They've been really good recently, we know, but their week 1 loss, Olentangy Orange.
Yeah, what do you learn there?
So, yeah, they're not going to be in awe, just like, Kaufman and Darby and those Columbus area schools aren't.
They slammed Perrysburg 42-6 in the 2021 playoffs.
Yes.
They smoked Whitmer, too, the week later, 49-14, and lost to Springfield in the regional finals, 27-0 that year. But that was the year the Monarchs were 12-1. I don't know much about them this year, but sorry, I interrupted you.
No, we don't have a whole lot to go on. It's a little easier when you get to the halfway point of the season. You can do some more comparisons and things like that. But based on what I know, and Neil, you mentioned Steinecker Stadium, the Jackets are at home. I think they've got to clean some things up this week. I really do, or else Marysville's going to come in and shock them.
I agree.
But I think Perrysburg finds a way to get it done late in that game. I can't bet against Dirk Connor here.
4-quarter game.
Yep, I agree.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take the Jackets, too, in that one. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to rally the troops this week and fix some things maybe from a week ago against St. Francis and get it done there. Whitmer at Central Catholic.
Absolutely. So I haven't got it posted yet, but this will be our Game 1 Game of the Week for Week 2. I think one that is going to be an absolute slugfest. In terms of impressive wins last week, the Whitmer Panthers rolling over Dublin Kaufman 42-14. If you don't know about Dublin Kaufman's program, or some guys who have come through that system, a perennial powerhouse down in that Northwest Columbus area. They play a tough schedule and compete year in and year out. For Whitmer to win that game 42-14 tells me a lot about what's going on up at Whitmer right now. But man, they come into Gallagher Stadium where Central Catholic, I was at that game last week. That was our Game 1 Game of the Week, Findlay Central. A lot of questions, particularly up front for Central Catholic. I would tell you by all measures, it appears that they have just reloaded. And now, not without some things that they're still trying to tweak and figure out, but Coach Dempsey will definitely have that dialed in this week. I think it's going to be a tremendous game. I think this is going to be a physical game. I'm not going to pick it because it's my game of the week, so you boys can go from there. But I think that this is a game that may surprise some people how close this one might be. And one with a lot of history, too, between these two schools, going back to the track days and things of that nature. So,
let me ask you this, Neil, and I know you're not going to pick it, nor should you. Does Whitmer have a chance?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I believe that they absolutely have a chance. Central's on a 32-game win streak. We've talked about that. And I think you talk about buses rolling in over here at Liberty Center and guys getting off the bus down 14-0. No different when you got the Fighting Irish on your schedule. And I think mentally a lot of teams, see Central and the mystique around that program, and rightly so. They've earned that. Whitmer is not one of those teams. they're not going to be intimidated by these guys, and I think that goes a long way right out of the gate.
35-8 last year Central, 46-14 in 2022. The 2021 game was, let me find it here. Where is it? 28-7 Central. 2020.
Whitmer won that one, I think.
2020, did they play in 2020? They may not have played.
COVID year.
Didn't play in 2020. 2019, 42-14 Central. 2018, 21-0 Central, and I think it was the year before that they finally got the Irish. Yes, 2017 was the last Whitmer win, 21-14.
You know, Neil, we talked on Rise and Rewind. I always love your post-game interviews when you talk to the kids and that. And what I saw from the Central Catholic kids that you interviewed, those kids that had been waiting their turn, waiting in the wings, being mentored by those great former players. I just see a hunger and a passion in those guys where they want to keep the bar set high. You know, they don't want to be the ones that kind of, disappoint. And so with that said, I think it's business as usual. I don't think it's going to be easy, but no way am I picking against the Irish at home. I like Central Catholic.
Agree 100% with that. Yep. Irish,
before we go on, I need my Game 1 Players of the Week last week. Get T-shirts from Game 1. Anthony Sylvester on offense for Central, and Mike Bastida on defense.
It's a name we've heard before, huh?
It is, yeah. He is a monster linebacker.
Congratulations to those two.
Game 1 Players of the Week. Where would you say Central maybe is stronger this season, and then maybe where would you say they still have some room for improvement from their last few teams?
I think that the D-line is still identifying themselves, I would say, from, previous D-line, Canning's not being there and guys like that. Their O-line was impressive size-wise. 3 sophomores, a junior or senior, I believe, makes up that O-line, but they're also like 6'3", 287 on average across that line. So, but young guys getting game experience, but they did a pretty good job. We'll see once they, get against some teams that, maybe run a little bit more complicated stunts. So I think Coach Dempsey would tell you the same. Strengths-wise, man, their corners and secondary are impressive. You got guys like Victor Singleton, who has a chance to be one of the most, highly recruited kids in Northwest Ohio, just a junior right now, and has got multiple offers. Their receiving core is very good. Guys like Preston Frizzell, Dom Spanazzi, and others. Tyler Morgan and Anthony Sylvester here running dual at running back. So they're spreading that out. They're not, getting wear and tear on any one guy. And, Isaiah Fox, a senior coming in at quarterback, a lot of people say, well, geez, that's, how do you replace, guys like Terry Clark and those kind of guys? But every year they seem to plug another one in, and Isaiah Fox showed a lot of poise, a lot of control in the pocket. I would say, so I think up front, they're still trying to tune up a little bit, and, man, their defensive secondary is dangerous. There's going to be multiple pick sixes by that secondary.
Coach Gachardo, hope you were paying attention there if you didn't know that already. I'm sure he did, though. I'm sure Pat was studying the film.
Well, he's salivating at this opportunity. I know he has nothing but respect for Central Catholic, but to talk about a feather in their cap, I guarantee you Coach Gooch is dotting his I's and crossing his T's this week.
Let's hear from the Swanton Welding Company. The Swanton Welding Company proudly supports our local student athletes and coaches. We're committed to being your local steel fabrication company in Northwest Ohio and building projects across the country. For job opportunities at the Swanton Welding Company, visit www.swantonweld.com or visit them at 407 Zider Way in Swanton. Thank you to the Swanton Welding Company and our good friend Normie Zider. Jason Hale rolling in here for our football show tonight. Looking forward to chatting with him and about the Archer program and how they've turned that around and got it rolling after they took a year off a few years ago. We're going to talk to Coach Hale tonight later on, guys. All right, back to our picks. We have a few left. Lima Senior at Findlay. Want to wish Ryan Montgomery, the quarterback at Findlay, some well wishes as he went through a torn ACL from a week ago in that game at Central early in that matchup. Wish the Montgomery family well, and hopefully he can get back on track for his days down at Georgia.
Absolutely, and something that just you hate to see for any athlete, especially a guy like that. Went out about 4 minutes into the first quarter, wicked hit right to the knee. I mean, it was not a malicious, it was a clean football play, and football's football. But yeah, nothing but respect for the Montgomerys, and Ryan, we wish you well. Corcus, the young sophomore, probably one of the most unknown Northwest Ohio football players, backing up Ryan Montgomery, but just managed to come in with a lot of poise and led some scoring drives, and I felt like got more in control and better as that game went on. Lima Senior coming into Donnell Stadium this week. Findlay has got a lot of weapons, and I think it's going to be just a little bit too much for Lima Senior. I know that Lima Senior had that win last week, but I think Findlay is going to now be playing to prove some people wrong. I think a lot of people are probably down on them with the injury to Ryan Montgomery, and don't sleep on this Corcus kid at quarterback. He's a name that we're going to be talking about often over the next couple of years. Give me the Findlay Trojans.
I wonder who Corcus's father is. I wonder if his father is Ryan Corcus. I'm going to have to do my homework on that. I know the family if it is. Interesting. My sources tell me that the Lima Senior Spartans are legit. Okay, and I've seen Lima Senior when they're right, and they've got some scary dudes. Big, strong, fast.
Bill Lawrence took over a year ago. They went 9-3.
Yep.
He spent a lot of time down there at Kenton.
Yep.
Learning under the Mocs.
Yep.
I've heard the same insight about Lima Senior. I don't think this is going to be easy for Findlay. This is going to be close.
Yep. This isn't Lima Senior 5-8 years ago. I think Ryan Corcus.
Right, yep.
Yeah. Good buddy of mine, good friend of my brother-in-law, Lee Kreger, Lincoln's dad. He comes from good stock. Corcus, good people. Didn't realize his son.
Riley.
Like you said, I mean, it's like being Brett Favre's backup, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're unknown. But here's what I'm gonna do. All week long, or all weekend long, it's Monday, I was leaning Lima Senior, but you know what? They're gonna rally the troops at Findlay. Ryan Montgomery, pure class in the statement he released. Yep. In the wake of that injury. He will rehabilitate that injury like a true warrior. So I echo what you guys said. We're thinking of you. But I think the Trojans rally the troops and win a barn burner.
I agree.
This one could be
in the 40s.
It could be 45-44 is what I was going to say.
I think at least in the 30s.
Okay, I agree with that. I
like Findlay, though. I think Findlay's going to get it done.
Okay.
This next matchup, maybe even more of a stone-cold lead pipe
block.
Southview hosting Waite. The Cougars can name their score in this one. Just get out of there healthy and head to week 3.
Yeah, there's really no analysis needed here. Southview rolls in this one. Stay healthy and get ready for week 3.
Yeah, I was impressed with just the highlights that I saw from Southview. I think a lot of people expected them to maybe take a step back, and they certainly graduated some super football players, but when you get it rolling, sometimes you just reload, and those younger kids are waiting for their turn, and Southview, I think, is in that situation. I like the Cougs also.
Ohio's second oldest rivalry is at Fremont Ross on Friday as Sandusky visits the Little Giants. 119th meeting between these two schools.
Interesting. Has some good history there, Lynn. Little Giants last week lost to Columbian 11-27 on the road. As we talked about earlier, Sandusky losing to Clay 21-38. Interesting thing, that game last year, that Columbian game, Fremont Ross, was a blowout, as I recall. So, we talked about can Fremont Ross stay poised for 4 quarters? Can they battle through adversity? I think that they showed more of that. Both coming off a loss here. Games at Fremont Ross. I'm going with the Little Giants for another week. Coach Long, get them locked in, clear the minds, because Sandusky's coming to town. But give me the Little Giants this week.
Yeah, I took Sandusky last week, and because I wanted to challenge the Eagles a little bit. Clay got it done. Don Paul Stadium, Fremont Ross, they're back against the wall. I think it's going to be a slugfest, but I think Chad Long finds an edge, and I like the Little Giants to prevail, but it ain't going to be easy.
Okay. I like the Little Giants as well. Springfield is at Rogers. Springfield won this one 30-20 last year.
Yeah, the Blue Devils coming off of a heartbreaker there against Maumee last week, licking their wounds a little bit. That said, headed over to Rogers. Coach LaCharles Smith, love what he's doing with that program, love where they're going directionally. I think that they go 1-1 this week. Give me the Blue Devils to get things back on track.
I'm with you, Neil. I am going with the Springfield Blue Devils. When you look at Springfield and Northview and the division they play in the NLL, wins are going to be tough to come by. That's just the elephant in the room here. This is one Springfield must win to have something to build on going forward. I like them to get it done, but I'll bet you this one's close.
I agree.
LaCharles Smith, going to get it done in this matchup. I like the Blue Devils as well. St. Francis 0-1, gave Perrysburg fits a week ago. They are at Scott. Josh Lemke, win number 1 of his career.
Agreed.
With the Knights.
I'm with you, Lynn. I like St. Francis. I think they are going to just continue to get excited week after week at St. Francis. Not only the players and coaches, the school, the alumni. They've been waiting for this resurgence. I think it's coming. I like the Knights.
You got the kids who are starting to believe, the community that's going to start to believe again, and this isn't going to be the last victory this season for the Knights, mark my words. But Josh Lemke gets it done for number 1 with the Knights this week.
What about the Maumee resurgence? Do they get it done at Bryan this week?
I have a ton of respect for Coach Staten. I know he's going to do all the right things, push all the right buttons. Brian's going to be physical. He's going to coach them up. But I just think the Mo right now that Maumee is rolling with, it's going to be a little tougher on the road. Brian's going to, their backs are against the wall, but Maumee's feeling good. And I think Maumee, they've got some playmakers. They can spread the ball around a little bit, and I think they've got too much. I think it's going to be closer than what people would think, but Maumee's going to get it done.
I agree with you, Tory. I like what's going on with the Maumee Panthers. We've talked about a lot. Guys like Carson Greats, we talked about that kid. Great week last week. They've got enough playmakers. I think they can go on the road and come home 2-0.
Yeah, I think Brian will play with them. I'm thinking, we don't do scores on here, but I'm thinking 28-14, Maumee.
Yeah, I like the mojo going on in Maumee right now.
A little swagger there at Maumee.
See them going on the road and taking care of business this week. Let's hear from the Gerkens one final time here in this podcast.
High school seniors, uncertain that college is right for you? Concerned about the cost of higher education? At the Gerken Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods even without a degree. That's a good living straight out of high school with no tuition debt. Starting pay between recent college grads and those with high school diplomas is closer than you might think. So if you enjoy teamwork, working outdoors, and being part of something meaningful, consider your options at gerkencompanies.com/careers.
Again, thank you to the Gerken Companies, title sponsor of our podcast, and the Rock Solid Performance. We're going to get the bracelets out to the Napoleon folks when those get made here in the future.
I'm going to want one.
You don't get one.
No.
I'm going. Well,
You shouldn't have stopped coaching if you wanted one.
I will get one.
Well, you don't be taking one from one of the kids.
Well, I won't have to take it. I guarantee you, if I say to Trey Rubenstein, Trey,
Trey's not giving you it.
darn right he would, buddy.
Ruby, do not do it.
You know what?
Don't.
Trey would do it. Trey would. Owen Espinoza would. I know
Because
George
they feel
Eggers would.
sorry for you.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Hey, I'm not too proud. George Eggers would. He'd be proud to have me wear his bracelet.
I tell you what.
You ask him.
Boys, you are knows. You don't go anywhere near Strock's.
When George Eggers was interviewed last year and asked who his favorite teacher was, who did he say? That's right, yours truly. I infuse those kids with knowledge,
He
Neil.
was probably a little bit behind in class and trying to get some extra credit.
There you go.
No disrespect, George.
I know George wasn't behind in class.
You know who gave George Eggers his first ever interview? That's right.
Neil Schuller.
That's right.
I don't know if that's true.
It was a dandy.
I don't know if that is
George,
true.
George is a man of few words, I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
He's all business, and he'll be all business.
I want one of the bracelets for on our desk here. Anybody listening, teams, we need some
Decor.
apparel, decor.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. They'll make it happen.
Oh, yeah.
We need it, though. We'll promote you. We'll advertise
We're probably
you.
going to need taller chairs by the time the season's over.
We
with
got
the amount of stuff we're
We
gonna
got
have.
our Ottawa Hills bracelets last year. Next
Bowling
one, best
Green.
one, Bowling Green.
Yep,
And the RPO mantra, right? But I like the Ottawa Hills one, Brandon Carter. Next one, best one. Your next play, your next practice, your next game.
Next test.
one, best one. Next test, because they're student athletes, Neil. I like the way you're thinking.
You know, Ned Stexley, when he rolls up here for 100 years of Columbus Girl football, he'll probably have one of his jerseys with him. He'll want us to hang up back here.
No. How about this? We're in the Columbus Grove press box Friday night. Ned's got a stack of hats a mile long handing out to people. You think he gave us one?
That is right.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I didn't get one of those.
Yeah, neither did I. So,
Wow.
yeah. Don't hold your breath.
I wonder if Jason Hale brought us anything tonight.
Maybe not tonight, but
Cheery disposition, I can tell you that so far.
he might not have brought anything tonight, but I bet he will if we ask.
I bet he would
yeah.
too. I'm sure he would.
Arrow, maybe like an arrow. That would be sweet.
Archers?
Yeah.
I like
Like
it.
something we can stick in the wall.
That could be dangerous
Yeah.
on Friday nights at these tailgates at about midnight when
Saturday morning coffee club. Louis Miller, if he has access to an arrow,
You don't want that around.
he'll probably shoot it at Rex.
don't coach, don't bring it. You don't want to be any part of this.
That was a good idea for a minute.
I liked it.
Yeah. 2 more games to go this week, guys. Defiance stinging from that loss. 0-1 at Wapakoneta, who got the victory over St. John's last week. Defiance beat the Redskins at home 16-13 a year ago in week 2. That was Defiance's first win over the Redskins since 2009. I'm a little worried here for Coach Coop and crew having to go to Walpock after that heartbreaker a week ago.
Yeah, you know, Neil, after that game Friday, it just it was a slugfest and a shame someone had to lose. But Napoleon's down here celebrating. Coach Cooper has his team down on about the 35-yard line at the other end, and it wasn't just consoling them like it's okay, guys. He was fired up. Okay, he was fired up after that game. You know, you can take your pick what he was talking about, maybe some mistakes, maybe we can't feel sorry for ourselves. If I know Travis Cooper, he's saying all the right things, trying to inspire his guys, but Lynn nailed it. What a tough, there's no time to catch your breath.
No.
And if you are feeling sorry for yourself, there's no rest. You know what? As much as I believe in Coach Cooper and Rubio and Wilder and those guys, I think they're going to have their hands full on the road, and I'm afraid they're going to start 0-2. I'm going to go with Wapakoneta as much as I'd like to see the Bulldogs win.
I thought you guys were going to talk me off the ledge there because I was leaning towards Walpock too. I just think that they have too much at home, and it's too much of an ask. If Defiance can rally and win this game, right back on track.
Which they could.
Right back on track.
They could, and if you're the Napoleon...
I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, and if you're the Napoleon Wildcats, from here on out, you're Bulldog fans, right?
Oh, you bet.
Playing for playoff positioning and things like that. This would be a big one, and if anybody can rally the troops, it's going to be Travis Cooper.
Caleb Moyer and that crew down there is got some weapons, a lot like Napoleon does, maybe even a few more.
Yep.
Well, and I talked about that game last week, that Wapak-St. John's game, from the St. John's perspective of things. Let's flip it over to Wapak. You just got a win over a pretty storied, big city Toledo team that, you're feeling pretty good, and now, you got momentum behind you. You got another home game with a Defiance team. Where are they at mentally? I agree. Coach Coop's going to have them locked into the best they can. Are the kids locked in? Are they on board with that? Are they starting to have some questions? I don't know, but it's a bad week to be heading to Wapak, and I'm going to take Wapak as a result of it.
I think our last one here is going to be a tough pick after what Shawnee did to LCC.
Shawnee beat LCC last week at Elida Friday night to round up our Week 2 picks.
Well, Elida was at Rogers. I don't know how much we learned there for sure, but I do agree that Shawnee win against LCC was noteworthy. Man, I'm going to wait on my pick. I haven't waited on one yet tonight.
You know what? And you can look at my sheet. You'll see that I have Elida highlighted, okay? Because I just think it's kind of the conventional pick. They're at home. They've had Shawnee's number. Shawnee has struggled. But at Lima Stadium, which is LCC's home field, Shawnee got it done against an outstanding T-Bird team. Convincing, and you know what? I'm gonna go against what I originally picked here. I'm going with the Shawnee Indians. I have to. Elida may win. Elida, I think, maybe the conventional pick here, but I'm going Shawnee.
Before we go any further, I should have mentioned this. Tyler Siefker, who was up here for our kickoff show from Elida, the one-man show, got hurt a week ago. Haven't heard the results. He had an MRI scheduled for this week, but
he was an awesome dude.
We're thinking of you, my man.
Yeah, tremendous.
We're thinking of you. Hopefully the MRI came out well, and
he's an awesome dude.
Get back out there this senior season.
Yeah. That's too bad. I'm going with Shawnee.
Yeah, here, and I kind of had this one no different than you, Tory. You can see my little dot right there. The thing about this is I think Shawnee winning over LCC probably showed those kids a lot more what they had available than maybe what Elida got out of Rogers. Yeah. I'm going Shawnee as well.
I like it, Neil. I like it.
And if Tyler's hurt, that just convinces me even more.
I'm going with Elida this week.
Well, we just picked up a game on
another one. Maybe give you guys a chance. But I think Elida is going to get it done.
They might.
It's going to be a close game.
They were riddled with injuries a year ago, and now they already get one this year. But I think they got enough in the tank to get it done against a good Shawnee team.
Yeah, they're well coached too. We've seen them. We've seen them at Defiance a couple years ago. They're well coached. Nice organization, but Shawnee, a rebirth of sorts there at Shawnee.
Yeah, be interesting to see what they can do in the WBL as the season goes on. For Neil Schuller, Tory Strock, I'm Lynn Groll. Thank you to listening or watching the Black Swamp Football Podcast presented by the Gerken Companies. Tune in Saturday morning, 8 a.m. for Rise and Rewind. We'll recap all of the Friday night action. And if you don't listen to it at 8, you can go on our website, our archive, and you can listen to it in its entirety there as well. Have a good week, everybody.